Welcome back to another edition of the Course Creation Incubator. I'm Gina Anativia, your course coach and digital strategist, here to help you get your course done, marketed, and out to your students. I'm also here to help you plan for the future and to figure out what's next. Because I want you building a business that you love, that you want to work on in the day-to-day. And I want you thinking, what's ahead? I make sure I have regular check-in points to see where I'm going and where the business is headed. Is this the path I really want to be on? I'm always asking myself that. To that end, every 6 months, I do the same vision process, and I've got that slated coming up with Becky, my online business manager, in a few days. We'll talk through what worked this past year, what didn't work, where we want to build on success, etc. I went through that process during episode 43, which is my mid-year gut check-in planning. So if you're interested in that process, please check out that episode. Today, I wanted to bring on another perspective for your planning process, an old dear friend who is so smart and brings incredible structure to everything she does. That perspective is going to come from my friend Colleen Hauk, who is a speaker, a best-selling author, a strategic coach. Now, I know Colleen from consulting with Bo Eason, who I've talked about a lot of times on this podcast. Bo is a former NFL standout. He's a storytelling coach and a trainer, an incredible speaker. Colleen and I get to work on content together for Bo. And along with Dawn Eason, Bo's wife, we do an event together called Story to Stage, where we help train speakers on how to book stages and set up their marketing efforts. We do that twice a year, and it's one of my highlights. I love doing that event with these ladies. Colleen is one of the best content developers I know, and I'm bringing her on to help you think with a more streamlined focus, more structure as you ask yourself, what do I want the next 6 months to look like? Colleen has 4 questions for us to get our thinking process going, because honestly, a few of these questions I wish I had earlier on in my business planning, because I've made the mistake of spending a lot of time building out a program. Now, this was a few years ago, and then I realized this isn't where I want to take my business. I spent months and all this time and energy. Then I just realized, nope, this isn't right. This isn't where I want to go. So I wish I had Colleen in my ear all those years ago. Let's listen in and learn from her now. Welcome, Colleen. It's amazing to have you on the podcast.
Oh, I'm so excited to be here, Gina. Love this. Love it.
So I wanted to, like I said in the intro, give our course creators a taste of some planning for next year and really what do they want to achieve? What's their vision? And I couldn't think of someone better than you to bring on because you're organized. You bring visions into reality every day. And I know you've got an incredible framework. So I can't wait to dive in.
Yes. This is such a perfect time to be thinking about that strategy and thinking about the year ahead. So I can't wait for us to dive in today and talk about it.
All right. So I know you've got a 4-step process. So hit me up. What's the first question that we should be asking ourselves?
Yes. So first question is, what do you want or what do I want to be doing in my business each day or each month, basically? So I find all too often course creators and just, small business owners, entrepreneurs, they jump in with certain goals and objectives. And while we need those are great. But before diving in and taking those steps, take a step back and think about what do you actually want to be doing in your business? So I'll give you an example. When I first launched my business full time, I set a goal that I was going to publish an article every week on LinkedIn. I have no idea why I set that goal, Gina. I have no clue. And here's what happened. Every single week, I was dreading it because I don't love writing. I don't actually want to be doing writing in my business. So when I took a step back and said, what do I want to be doing? Oh, okay. I love to talk and be on video. So I'll shoot videos. I love to be on calls. So I want to make sure that I have, time with clients to be doing calls as well. So, think about what you want to be doing. Do you love writing? Do you love researching? Do you love creating? Where do you pull the greatest amount of energy for yourself? And then try to set up your activities in your business to really center around that. And that'll help really shape what your overarching goals. So I'll give another example. I've seen, business owners, entrepreneurs, coaches, let's say, coaches who say, I'm going to launch, this coaching program. And
Right.
when I get them to ask the question, well, what do you want to be doing every day? They're like, well, actually, I'd like to make videos and courses. I'm like, okay, well, where is that falling into your coaching program? Because in a coaching program, you're probably going to be coaching most of the time. And if that's not what you love to do, why are you designing that? Because, someone told you to. So yeah, that's the first thing I would say is really step back and really challenge yourself. What do you love to be doing every day?
Right. And it's about living in your zone of happiness, right? It cracks me up that you were thinking, I want to do articles because you're so good on video and you've got these amazing weekly videos. And sometimes I think we just get caught up and we see what everyone else is doing, or we say, oh, well, he or she is having success with that. I think I need to have a kick-ass blog or a 1,200 word blog or whatever it is. Meanwhile, we're not living in our zone of happiness, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, even for me, when I launched my business, I I thought I was pretty clear. I didn't ask myself this question that I've given to your audience. I just thought I wanted to be the best female speaker to hit the
Yeah.
stage. Like that was my goal. But had I asked this question specifically, I would have realized, okay, what does it take to do that? Oh, that means I have to be finding new clients, new gigs over and over and over again. And I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So, we either, because we haven't really broken down the vision into what does that look like on a daily basis for me to get there, or like you said, Gina, it's because we see somebody else doing something and we believe that that's the path to go. So yeah, you got to tap in. I love how you said that. Your zone of happiness. What do you want to be doing?
Yeah. I got that from Lisa Rigoli. Okay. I love asking this question. What's question number 2, Colleen?
Yes. So question number 2 is, am I acting and asking?
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
again, I work with small business owners and they're telling me, I'm thinking about launching this or creating this. And I'm like, great. So have you started? I
Yeah.
see too many people who just sit behind their computer and they're trying to make decisions from a computer screen only. And we've got to step away from just sitting behind that computer and get into action. So putting something out there, even if it doesn't mean it's a full finished product, right? So Gina, I know obviously you work, with course creators,
Yep.
and I'm sure you have them test small ideas or
All the time.
concepts all the
Yes.
time. So putting out those small pieces, so getting into action is how you figure out the answer. You don't figure out the answer behind your computer screen. You've got to first go into action. And then the asking piece is, are you asking your audience or your potential clients for the feedback? The answers are with your clients, your
Right.
potential clients or existing clients. So get into action and then ask for that feedback. That's really where the answers are.
So I talk about getting into action all the time. You and I are 100% aligned on this. Another reason I love you so much, Colleen. Now, I get course creators who say, well, this piece isn't quite locked in yet, so I can't move forward, right? Or I'm missing this area of the tech, so I'm just waiting. Right? So I have a response to that. What do you say to that person who's just waiting for like all the right pieces to fall into place?
Yeah, so I would almost be looking at it, okay, so what's who cares, right? I mean, I know that's sounding a little bit blunt,
No.
but it's kind of a let me say that differently. What's the impact by not having that ready? Like, is the
Hmm.
impact really that bad? If you didn't have that one component, what's your potential client actually missing from that? And is it really that as big of a deal as you think it is? It's so funny. I just had a coaching call with again, a small business owner, and just literally this week. And she had all of these, these perceptions. Well, if I do this, everyone will say this, and everyone's going to think
Ooh.
that. And I'm like,
Yeah.
who's
Where's this
everyone?
coming from? Right.
Why are we assuming this? So I think we believe that all the pieces need to be ready, but I would say really challenge yourself and think about, is there really a detrimental impact? If it's a minor negative impact, could you still get more positive gain out of it, right? Like, could you still get good feedback to make the rest of it even better? And then when you have that final component or that tech piece, it's going to blow it out of the water, right?
Yeah, I love that. And I asked that question, or the question, does the student care? That's like from back in my Tony Robbins days. Like, does the client care? Does the student care? You might be fixated on that, about that part of your course, your marketing, but do they really care? Are they going to notice? More than likely not. So actually their first response, who cares? Like, I think that is very true and a great gut response. And I think it's something that we should take to heart.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, because you're right. It's typically you as the creator who cares.
Yeah, who
And
cares?
most people don't.
Most people don't see what you, like, going back to what you said about perception. Most people are not seeing what you're seeing. We just both would rather you take action. Go ahead. What were you gonna say? I feel like
Yeah, well, I was going to say, they also don't know what's missing.
True.
Right. So you may be sitting there saying, okay, I need these 5 pieces, whatever that is, right? If that's, 5 lessons or these 5 platforms, whatever the, arbitrary number here of 5, you're thinking you need those. But let's say you launch with only 4. They don't know what's missing. They don't even know that that piece isn't ready or not available to them. So if you can get into action and put those first 4 out, and then you come back on a second release, or, and now you've got the 5th component, oh my gosh, right? I mean, you could even go back to your existing students and clients and say, look what else I've got for you. I mean, they don't even know what's missing.
Yeah, that's great. I had somebody else who said, I can't launch yet because I don't have bonuses. And I'm like, you have a million lessons here. You are over delivering on your content. Pull out 2 or 3 bonuses out of your existing and they'll never know because you have framed them as such, right? So there's a great example of that, and they don't know. You're your own marketer. Okay, let's move on to question 3, which I love this question too, because it's about the metrics, right? What's question number 3?
Yeah, what's the data telling me? So in my previous lifetime, I came from the corporate world, and I worked with insights and data. And that's what true brand marketers, I mean, I worked with some of the largest CPG companies, food companies out there, like Dole Foods, right? Like big companies.
Yeah.
And their marketing teams, that's what they used to make decisions, was to take a look at the data and the insights. And I think, there's absolutely a part of us as our own business owners. We should be trusting our intuition. We want to go where our energy is pulling us. Absolutely. I think that's a great starting point. But are you looking at all of the metrics, and then are you making adjustments? So, oftentimes, and I see this again, like I said, I'll be on a call with a group of people from, one business, and everybody's saying, I think we should do this. I think we should do that. And I'm like, what did the data tell you?
Right.
And when we pull up that data, the answers are right there. So are you reviewing the data on everything possible and then making minor adjustments to test? And I'm sure, Gina, you've shared this with your students, is that when we go to test, we don't want to change more than one variable at a time, right? To really, truly get the impact of a test, we need to change one variable at a time. But again, I just challenge, are you looking at the data and using that for informed decisions to move forward?
Yeah, I love that. And let's point out, so social media data, right? So looking at your content, what content is performing on your different platforms. Like if I'm looking on Instagram, I'm always checking how my stories performing versus my feeds. If I'm actually doing reels, like I'm checking that out. I'm constantly checking my Google Analytics. What traffic am I pulling in each month? Which podcasts are resonating with my listeners? What pages are seeing traffic? Why are they seeing traffic? So that is a constant for us. I'll have to admit, Becky, my online business manager, has made me even better about that. So, but you don't need an online business manager to do that, to just like get obsessed with the data a little bit, like a healthy obsession, I would say, right, Colleen? Like, especially for those who aren't maybe in the rhythm of doing that yet.
Yes. Yes. And you bring up a good point that it doesn't always have to be you. So for example, Gina, as you mentioned, I have a video that comes out every week.
Yeah.
So my virtual assistant, she created basically themes, buckets of themes, and she tracks the viewership based on those themes, which informs me when I go to create the next batch of videos. I'm looking to see which themes are resonating, because I may love to talk about, a topic about being a mom, but if my
Right.
audience isn't resonating with that, then I need to adjust and create content that's relevant to them. So, but my VA collects the data,
Mm-hmm.
organizes the data, but I'm the one who's ultimately responsible for reviewing it to make those informed decisions.
Yes, and I love that, and I hear you, because sometimes I sit down and I'm like, I'm going to create podcasts about this topic that I love, and it's like I look at the data, I'm like, okay, that's not necessarily what my listeners want, and I love hearing that and knowing that, and it's like, okay, I want to deliver what you guys want to hear, right? Versus like what I'm in love with, like that's I'll just save that.
I mean, I think every once in a while, if it's something that is really lighting you up, Gina, right?
True.
Every
Yeah.
once in a while, I'll go rogue and
Yeah.
say, and I think it's fun to even be able to address and say, hey, you guys may not want to hear this, but let me tell you what's top of mind, because I'm fired up about it, right? I think
Yes.
there's some fun if that is your personality type, but that should be like 0.05% of your
Right.
content, right?
Right. Yeah, I 100% agree. Okay, so we're checking our data, and then I think there's one final point, and I like this one too, because I talk a little bit about, well, anyway, I'm not stealing your thunder. Go. What's the fourth point? Fourth question.
Yes. So this is a little bit of a corporate term, but it's what I train in my corporate side
Yeah.
is who should be on my personal BOD, and BOD stands for board of directors. So who should be on your personal board of directors? And first, let me just say that each one of you is a CEO of your business.
Mm-hmm.
You are not just an entrepreneur, solopreneur, a content creator. You are the CEO of your business. And true CEOs, true business owners, they have boards of directors who help guide, provide feedback, and help make decisions. And so I really challenge your listeners and your students to think more like business owners and create your own personal board of directors. And so what would that look like though
Yeah, what would that look like?
in this world?
Yeah.
So, if you think about one, do you have a mentor, right? That should be pretty simple. A mentor is somebody that you can find for free. It's somebody who is either in your same space, but preferably they're at least a couple of steps ahead of you. So, Gina, I know you have mentors in your
Oh,
space,
yeah.
right?
Plenty of mentors.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so like for me, which is how you and I met,
Yeah.
for me, who was originally my trainer, but he continues to be my mentor, is Bo Eason for storytelling and speaking. So I continue to make sure that I'm around him and continuing to learn. But then also on your personal board of directors should be somebody who is a coach. And it's very different. A mentor and a coach is different. A mentor has zero skin in the game.
Yeah.
They're just there to support you and give you advice. A coach is where you are putting in some sort of financial commitment, but the coach knows that. So then they're stepping up in a different capacity. They're training you, they are challenging you, and they're holding you accountable. And I think it's really important, no matter how successful your business becomes, I would argue that the most successful business owners still have coaches. So
Absolutely. Yes.
those are the two I would say at minimum should be on your board of directors.
Okay, I love that. So I want to go back to mentors. So I talk all the time. I've got a fitness mentor. So I've got like Coach Bobby's helped me with my training. I've got Bo's a storytelling mentor of mine too. I talk about him all the time. I've got parenting mentors. I talk about my mommy mentors. I talked about a mental fitness mentor. So think about all the different areas of your business and your life. And I 100% subscribe to that. And I like your distinction between the coach and the mentor. With the coach, there's a financial commitment. I've got a business coach. Love her. And then also, I would like to add like a sounding board. So I've got trusted people. You're one of them, Colleen, who I say, hey, I'm thinking about this idea. I'm thinking about this title or this approach. What do you think? And it's 3 or 4 people. It's not a huge amount of people, right? But that I would vet a business decision or an approach with them. What do you think about something like that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a slightly different. I think about a confidant,
Mm-hmm.
but they very similar purposes.
Okay.
Somebody who who is just, like you said, it's a trusted advisor in a way.
Yeah.
They're not taking on the formal role of mentor, but like you said, you and I have put together calls to just say, hey, can we bounce ideas off of each other?
Yeah.
Or even just to share a frustration that you're having in your business. And because again, it's trusted, that a trusted relationship, that that's not leaving that conversation with that person. So yeah, having a sounding board, a confidant, a trusted advisor, that's different than a mentor or a coach.
Okay. That's great. So I've answered my 4 questions. What kind of like next step do you want to leave with listeners? Like, what do you really want them to be thinking about as a final thought into the new year of planning?
Yeah, so I'm just going to take it back old school, very tactical. It has been serving me for my a full adult life, is what I'll say. Which is weekly and daily planning. It really just is.
Okay.
So every Friday toward the end of the day, I leave space that I'm evaluating what was accomplished this week, what didn't get accomplished, what needs to be shifted into next week. And I'm literally, this is not a to-do list, by the way. This is not a to-do list. These things are put into my calendar. When they sit on to-do lists, they don't get done. We need to actually schedule the time for these tasks and these projects, these activities to get done. But I'm always thinking about what are the big pieces that make the greatest impact in my business. And I have to make sure I schedule time for those. So for example, right now in my business, one of the biggest components that I have to have is business development. I have to make sure every week that I am sending out emails, I'm scheduling conversations. A lot of my business, as you know, Gina, is for corporate, right?
Yeah.
So it's a B2B capacity. So I have to make sure that I have scheduled time every week, even though at the same time, I have all these tasks, right? I'm creating content, I'm delivering trainings, doing coaching calls.
Yeah.
But I have to make sure that on Friday, when I plan for the upcoming week, that I have what's most important to keep my business going scheduled, because otherwise it's going to get lost in the myriad of tasks that we have going on. So I just really recommend that you're sitting down every Friday to do that planning. And then at the end of every day, I do a quick eval to say, okay, what do I need to adjust for tomorrow as well? But I do kind of the big picture for the week. And then at the end of every day, what needs to be adjusted for the next day. And I do it at the end of the day, not in the morning. When you show up to work on your business, you should already know what you're doing first thing that morning. Do not sit down and think about it then. You end your day that way. And that way, it subconsciously, when you are ending your day, going to bed at night, you already know what's going to be worked on in the morning.
Right.
Your brain kind of starts to think about that, right? So I'm a huge advocate for that.
I give you huge kudos because I don't have the energy at the end of a Friday. I'll be recording this on a Friday and all I want to do is go for a walk or just chill out. I'm fried. So I'll be honest. So I do it on Sunday. So I do my planning on Sunday. Yeah. So, and Alex, my husband and I, we have our special thing, he knows, take care of Tristan, because I want to do some planning for the week. He's really great about it. One thing I want to acknowledge you about as well is your discipline. And I feel like, I feel like you're never having an overwhelmed day, or you bring so much discipline and structure to what you do. I would love to bring more of that to what I do.
Here's what I say, Gina. I am structured on paper, but flexible in mind.
Okay.
And that actually started my very first career. I was an elementary school teacher, and I was 21 years old. That's and great. I've always been very structured. And so as an elementary school teacher, you have a lesson planning book and you write in pencil for that. And I would get, I'd have all my lesson plans for the days and the weeks. And then all of a sudden our principal would say, oh, we're going to have a fire drill, or there's going to be an assembly. And as a 21-year-old new teacher, that pissed me off so badly. And so I've learned over the years that you be structured on paper, but be flexible in mind, because in real life, those fire drills, right, in our businesses, they are going to happen. But it's the more structured you are, the more disciplined you are, the more efficient you actually become, and the less chaotic things will feel. But I'm always open to knowing that I write in pencil on my daily planner. It's in pencil. So.
And one thing I see that I've been trying to do too is be more protective of my time, because I see you do that. You are an expert at that. You are no dummy. You know, like, where you should be managing your energy and your productivity. So I think there's something to be said for that as well.
You know, I theme my days, and I learned it the hard way. When I first launched my business, you know, for coaching calls, my calendar was open, 5 days a week. And so I structure my days in themes. So like, I know for me, I have lots of great energy for coaching on Mondays and Wednesdays.
Okay.
Versus Tuesdays and Thursdays are more creative, writing, delivery. I do lots of sales calls on those days. And then Friday is really open for me to have a little more recovery, a little more reflection, and potentially, do makeup things that I couldn't get done earlier in the week. So I theme out my days to help me, not only from a structure, standpoint, but also, like you said, Gina, to protect my time and be at optimal energy or optimal brain power for those.
Okay, I love that. All right. So those are just some additional tips. I know while I've had you here, Colleen, I wanted to pick your brain about that. Where can listeners learn more about you? You do many different things, and check out those weekly videos as well.
Yes. So easy, going to my website, ColleenHauk.com. And as Gina mentioned, you can subscribe to weekly videos. I really specialize in taking burned out executives and turning them into top tier leaders. So a lot of my videos are addressing burnout. So if you are experiencing
very relevant,
that,
yes, very relevant for this audience. So that's excellent.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, so check out those videos. Check out Colleen. Thank you so much for coming on and just getting us thinking about the new year, right? And some rituals and some practices that we want to put in place. So really appreciate having you here.
Absolutely. Happy to do so, Gina. Thanks so much.
What did you think of Colleen? Great questions, right? Some great systems that she mentioned. How will you be acting and asking? Because I know I'm going to start doing that more and more. What kind of shifts will you be making as you plan for the future? I hope this got you thinking for your planning for the future and where you want to take your course business. I will see you next week. Please rate and review this episode, especially if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, and subscribe. Until next week, go create, be you and be brilliant, and get it done.